Good evening, everybody. We'd like to call the May meeting of the Hartsville-Trousdale County Planning Commission to order. At this time, Shutta, would you call our roll? Here.
Here.
Here. Okay, everybody but one. Next is our approval of our minutes. You've had these minutes. Hopefully you've had time to go over them. Are there any corrections or additions that anybody sees needs to be made to last month's minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Mr. Welch to approve. Do I have a second? Second by Heather. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Last month's minutes are approved. Do we have any changes to our agenda or anything? Any member night needs to make? Okay, if not, we have our agenda set for tonight. All right, new business. First up is a rezoning request. This rezoning request is from A1 to R1, 5.5 acres. It's on Beasley's Bend Road by Ray Hubner, representative of the property owners for future development, and this is in the 8th Civil District. Is Mr. Hubner here? Would you come up, please, sir, to the podium over there? I don't think your mic's on. If you'd push that button there. Thank you, sir.
My wife says I'm good at pushing buttons.
Just tell us what you're wanting to do here.
So we are proposing, there's a 5.5 acre tract at Beasley's Bend that we are proposing to cut into 2 3/4 acre tracts out there. Originally when that came through on the auction side, they were all cut into 5+ acre tracts where they wouldn't have to go through planning commission. We're just looking to take the 5 acres and cut it into 2 lots, be able to put 2 houses on it.
Okay, so you want to take what's roughly a 5.5 acre tract
Yes, sir.
and
Put 2.75 acres on each tract.
Right.
Cut it evenly. Yes, sir.
okay. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Hubner? Yes, sir.
When you're looking to divide that, do you have perk spots?
Yes, sir. We've already run preliminary soils work and it's in the process at this time. They said that there would not be an issue, that we could actually get 4+ bedroom perk sites on each one of them.
Okay. Any others? Any other members have any questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We do have some people that have signed in that would like to speak to this. Mr. Nichols, would you come up, please, sir?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Didn't expect to be speaking tonight, but I signed up just in case. I am a landowner and homeowner out on Beasley's Bend, just a couple of addresses down from this tract of land. And I can speak for myself, my wife, and several of my neighbors that we are opposed to the idea of subdividing the tracts, opposed to this motion. So it's a rural area, and we like it that way. And the idea of opening the door to multiple, to the development of the area. There's still lots of land available, and the idea of developing that with multi-units is something we've been afraid of, and we would not like to see happen. So,
Okay.
should I add anything, anybody?
Well, I've got some others here that would like to speak, so
Okay. All right, thank you.
yes, appreciate it. Mr. Sprague?
Good evening.
Evening.
I'll echo everything that Mr. Nichols has said. I'm also a resident down there at the end of the bend. that particular area, well, actually, most of Beasley's Bend is very narrow two-lane roads. We're dealing with infrastructure issues. We're dealing with a lot of requests to change the way things are and have been. My request would be, whatever the current zoning is, we'd like to hold to that. Simply because obviously any additional above what the zoning allows is gonna affect not only the infrastructure, but the aesthetic that's out there. Mr. Nichols said that it's a very rural area, and we became owners out there simply because of the way things were at that time. And we're against anything that would, like the children's book, you give a mouse a cookie. Once you allow compromise in one, you start to set precedents, and we're very fine with the way that things are right now. Okay, it's nothing personal. Anybody who wants to move out, there's a set of rules and requirements, and we're happy to welcome anybody who is willing to live with the same rules and requirements that we are.
Okay, just,
Yes,
you said something that you wasn't sure what the current zoning is.
yes,
It's A1, which is agricultural zone.
right.
And what they're requesting is that it be moved to an R1 zone, which is a more restrictive residential zone. Just so, I didn't know if you knew what.
Well, what's the minimum amount of acreage that is required for a new build out there?
Actually, by our current rules, a minimum of 3 acres
Minimum of 3 acres?
is what we've had, and we've had that for several years.
Okay,
But that, of course, anybody can ask for a zoning request and a change and that type of stuff. But our current rules are a minimum of 3 acres.
minimum of 3 acres?
Yes, sir.
And again,
But that's in agriculture.
right,
If it's changed to R1, then it's an acre.
okay. Again, we're rural. We would like to keep the rural aesthetic. We would like to limit the amount of impact that our infrastructure is currently
Right,
suffering.
right.
And we've had requests to actually for our more commercial endeavors. And again, we're wanting to keep our neighborhood in its current.
I understand. I just want to make sure you understood what the zoning.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you clarifying that for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Jerry, I'm afraid I don't want to try your last name. What is it? Galoo, okay. No, my problem was I just couldn't read it.
Well, that could be too. Well, again, thank you for letting all of us speak. We own the property adjacent, my wife and I. I believe it's to the north. And when we purchased out there, the intent was we wanted to be out, more property, just not a lot of people. And this area provided exactly what we were looking for. To have someone come in and subdivide, and as you correctly brought out, you could build 5 houses out there if someone wanted to. I don't know how that would work out with the floodplain at the lower end of the property. But again, our concerns are the same as everybody else's, infrastructure, roads, all these different components. But it's on a narrow piece of property, putting even 2 houses. It changes the characteristic of everything that's out there. And when you spend a bloody fortune in property and building, everybody out there is going to build $1 million home. Not that they're worth that, but that's what the going cost is. To cut it up like that just devalues our property. And our build isn't even done yet. So you can see where our concern is. So that was what we had.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for letting me speak.
Mr. Ray Hubner? Well, okay, we had you already. Mr. Harris?
My name is Will Harris and I'm here as a representative with Ray. I just wanted to give a few points of clarification on our request and some of the comments that I've heard about precedent. So those are A1 zoning, but there is a R1 precedent already in that particular area. Maybe a handful of lots down, 1 acre tracts all up and down that area. Even though this is 5 acres and 1 acre is the minimum for R1, road frontage restrictions on these properties would never allow for it. It would never, that would never pass any planning or with the planning commission or survey or any of that, because the restrictions on the road frontage would not allow enough of road frontage per lot to do 5 lots. So these lots are restricted to being able to go to from a 5.5 acre tract to a 2.75 acre tract. You can't get any more density there. I heard the term multi-unit used. There's not going to be multiple units beyond an additional house. I don't think the infrastructure out there is going to suffer just because one additional home is put out there. They are going to be 2.75 acre lots, and I think that's the maximum you can put on there with the precedent that's already there for R1. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Okay. Just for clarification about this process, the planning commission is the beginning point for a rezoning. The planning commission does not have the authority to rezone property. What the job of the planning commission is to do is we have to make one of 3 decisions. We can send this request to the county commission with a favorable recommendation. We can send this request to the county commission with an unfavorable recommendation, or we can send this request to the county commission with no recommendation at all. It has to go to the county commission. Only the county commission can rezone property, period. So those of you that have spoke tonight, everybody did a great job. The county commission, just one second, the county commission is the only body in the county that can rezone property. So that you would need to make sure you know what night it's gonna come up there. Because it, you know, as I said, we can't just say, no, we ain't gonna let you do it. We don't have that authority. So, yes, ma'am. Come on up. Please state your name when you get up there so the secretary can get it down in the minutes.
You know
Uh-oh.
this one?
You know, Shudder,
Yes.
poor thing.
I know. Wait till she tries to spell it. My name is Jenilyn Sprague. I am Dean Sprague's wife. I do live across the street from the lot in question. But the important thing is that I live behind the 1 acre lots that this gentleman brought up. Those 1 acre lots were cut off of my property before I owned my property, before the current zoning was in effect. So from what I understand from the previous owners, those 1 acre lots were cut off from the property in order to make a quick buck before the next zoning law came in and restricted them from doing so. Of those lots, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that adjoin my property. Of the 6, probably only 2 or 3 of them are not problem children of ours. And the more people you put in that small area out there at the end of the road, the more problems have ensued. So that is all I wanted to add, is that those lots were there prior to the current zoning.
Do all of the lots have a home on them?
Yes, they do. They're 1 acre, approximately 1 acre lots, and there's fighting and bickering and chickens and gunshots pointed at other people's across property lines. There's all kinds of things that happen with those lots right there.
Sounds to me like your next stop needs to be at the sheriff's department.
It has been on multiple occasions,
Yeah,
but I just wanted to clarify.
no, thank you.
All right, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Appreciate it. Ms. Rosalie?
Thank you. So if you will turn to the application that's in your packet there. you'll find the picture behind the application of what is seen in TN Property Viewer, and it does illustrate the various flood zones that are on that property. The property in question is parcel number 10.29. You do see that there are the 500-year floodplain as well as the 100-year floodplain at the very end of that property. And the 6 1-acre tracts that are down there by the parcel number 14.14. And I will now defer to our planning consultant, Amanda.
Just 1 second, please, Amanda. Let me introduce Amanda, if y'all haven't met her tonight. Amanda is a private planner. Rosalie and I and the mayor interviewed her a few months ago. She is now the planner for Hartsville-Trousdale County. We are no longer using GNRC. And I just want y'all, when we're through, to introduce yourself. Welcome, Amanda. She has a wealth of experience in planning and zoning. She actually worked with GNRC and stuff before. But please, make sure you introduce yourself and everything when we get through. And Amanda, we want to welcome you to Trousdale County.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to be here. I appreciate the welcome. I won't go through the request. You all have already heard that and heard the public comments. But I will say the request is generally consistent with Trousdale County's future land use plans and growth management policies. The surrounding properties feature a mix of agricultural and residential uses, and the proposed R1 zoning is compatible with a development pattern in the vicinity. The proposed rezoning to R1 will facilitate residential development on a parcel of sufficient size and frontage. The parcel's access to water service and road frontage meets minimum subdivision and zoning requirements for R1. The use of septic is common in the area, and a floodplain does exist at the rear of the parcel, which may limit the development of that portion. This change is not expected to impact surrounding properties or infrastructure significantly. Other findings: the proposed zoning is compatible with surrounding land uses and zoning designations. Adequate public services and infrastructure, water and road access are available. The request supports the orderly growth of the community. And environmental constraints, the floodplain, have been identified and should be considered during future development or subdivision reviews. Staff's recommendation is approval of the rezoning request from A1 to R1, subject to any future development conforming with subdivision regulations and environmental limitations related to the floodplain.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Rosalie or Ms. Amanda? Any members? Heather, do you have a question?
I do, yes, sir. The second gentleman that spoke, I didn't get his name. Amanda, what was his
Mr.
name?
Sprague,
Mr. Sprague.
Dean Sprague.
He spoke on, there was a set of rules and requirements. Is that based on, do you know if he was speaking on the zoning or if he was speaking on when the Helm family split up that property?
Mr. Sprague, could you clear that up for us, sir? Okay. You were talking about the difference between an agricultural zone and a residential zone, the R1 zone. Okay. Other questions? Discussion?
I've got a question. I don't remember which individual spoke on it, but what is the minimum road frontage requirement?
50 feet.
50 feet, okay.
That's right, isn't it, Rosalie? Still 50 feet.
It is 50 feet of road frontage, though I have had a discussion with Jim Carmen concerning road frontage in this particular lot. In subdividing this lot, there are some concerns about the width to depth ratio, and say that on Monday numerous times, width to depth. But again, with R1 minimum road frontage is 50 feet. Is that correct, Jim?
Because of 5-to-1 ratio, you cannot design a 50-foot wide lot. In its current form, I do not think this lot livable without building a road in, is my opinion. Just looking at it on the map, I don't have the flat detailing how deep it is exactly. The minimum lot would be 100 feet, so you can cut 100 by 435 off of one side. If it's only 200 foot wide, then you've only got 100 foot left. That means the long end cannot be over 500 foot deep, and I'm saying that lot's 1,000 to 1,200 foot deep. So in its current configuration, I don't believe it is splittable based upon our zoning regs without a road being built.
So is it your conclusion that kind of like a cul-de-sac would have to go in?
You cannot just take it the way it is, and split it up the middle from road to river. It's too deep.
And of course, tonight, we're just looking at the zoning. That would, that would come back to us
But
when
that
a
is-
site plan
that's
and that
true.
type of stuff
that
were to,
is something
were to
they
come
may be
up.
aware of. They may be-
Well, I'm just trying to explain it to all the people so they understand. The question before us tonight is the zoning.
That's true.
That's a site plan issue that would have to meet. Sounds like they got some hurdles to meet going forward.
That may not be overcome.
Right, okay. Okay, but that's good information.
So the answer is yes, 50 foot for road frontage for an R1 piece of property.
Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I do want to thank the people that actually came out here to speak on this because it takes a lot of nerve to come to a meeting like this. And I do appreciate that coming from a county that's growing and understanding growth. In some situations, it's just not favorable to split land when leave it like it is, build a house on it like it is, and just accept the fact that it's going to be a good house on 5 acres and out of respect for the people in the community. So thank you guys for standing up to that and coming and speaking to us tonight.
Well, we like to encourage, we thank everyone for coming. It's your government. And if you don't participate in it, we would never know your feelings. So, yes, we always encourage and appreciate finding out things, coming out, because a lot of this stuff, unless we lived in that particular area, we would never know on an individual basis. Other discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion to send it with an unfavorable recommendation to the county commission.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Carmen to send this to the county commission with an unfavorable recommendation. I also already have a second from Katie, and a couple of seconds there I could have took. So we do have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, further discussion? Yes, sir.
If I could, I'd like to ask Mr. Carmen, with a road going through the middle of that property, could you then do more than 2 lots?
It would have to go down one side to be feasible, but yes, if it went down one side, you could probably get 3 to 4 lots if you built it far enough.
Okay, other questions? Okay. Any other discussion? Again, just as a reminder, the question before this body tonight is to either to send it to the county commission with a favorable recommendation, send it with an unfavorable recommendation, or just send it with no recommendation at all. It has to go from here to the to the county commission. They're the only body in the county that can rezone property. Okay, well, if there's no more discussion, we do have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'm sorry.
Bay.
Okay, so we have, I don't know. 7 yeses, 1 no. Did I get that count right? All right. Next item. Again, this will go, do you know when this will come before the county commission, Rosalie? course, y'all won't meet on Memorial Day, I'm sure. It'd be that Tuesday after. I just wanted to let everybody know when that would be. So this would probably come before the planning, I'm sorry, I keep saying that, before the county commission on the 27th of this month. They normally would meet on Monday, but because of the holiday, it'll be on that Tuesday. So just wanted to let all y'all know. I would attend. Okay. Next on our agenda is a sketch plat. This is for a 3-lot subdivision at 113 Planter Street of 7.22 acres by 113 Planter Street LLC, and it's located in the 9th Civil District. Is there someone here representing?
That's me.
That's you, okay, that's Jim.
Somebody's left their glasses here.
Uh,
I didn't get up and speak.
well, you're still doing better than me. I wouldn't have made it back to my seat without my glasses.
That's a problem.
You have one of these, right? Okay. Are they the same that you gave us earlier?
I got it.
Okay.
So I got some comments at the end of the week from Miss Amanda. So we've tried to make some minor adjustments, but anyway, the owners of the 113 Planter Street are looking at extending Harper Avenue right there where it's not built off of Hayes Street right there behind Piggly Wiggly right there. They're looking at extending that into the property and creating a cul-de-sac to create a couple of lots right there. So I'll try to answer any questions you might have.
And what's the zoning on these lots right now?
It's owner, I think this is I-1.
So these lots, 1, 2, and 3 are currently zoned I-1.
That's correct. The whole to the best of my understanding, the whole property is zoned I-1.
Just wanted to let everybody know what the zoning is and stuff. Anything else, Jim?
No,
I know we got questions. I was just,
No, I'm good. I'll try to answer your questions, which I see that I'm about to get one.
David?
So Rosalie, please correct me if I'm wrong, but looking in property viewer, it shows that the northern lot is commercial lot, the southern lot is industrial. They're two separate zonings. So has that been changed? Because I know at one point that was going to have townhomes on it. We approved the site plan for that northern lot.
What number would that be, David?
That would be 24.03.
No, I'm talking about on the plat, lot 1, 2, or 3.
Actually, it would be
Probably all
part
three of
of
them.
one, that parking lot, 2 and 3.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that part of 1 and all of 2 and 3 are commercial?
They were, unless they've been rezoned. And I couldn't remember, and it's not reflected on the map. So
So
Of course, the map may just not have been
exactly,
updated.
that's why I was asking
Right.
for
if you could
clarification.
go ahead and pull out your TN property viewer, and you can see, although I know the visual there, you could see a pad of a building above the white warehouse there where that business is. That building's pad, it came before us back. Remember, this was going to be an additional warehouse. Before they could do that, they had to go and rezone this property back to I-1. It has been about 3 to 4 years that this did occur, and they had to do that in order to build this additional warehouse. That has, in fact, the use had already changed as well, and it became offices as well as some other machinery that are in there, copying machines. So this is all I-1. Now, I did have a concern because it looked like the property line is dividing this building. Well, welcome to the joy of my job, dealing with TN Property Viewer and how quickly they update changes in the TN Property Viewer. This is now all one parcel of land. It's not two. I do have the tax card from Mike's office that illustrates that this is all parcel 24.00. So it is zoned appropriately, and that building is not on a property line. Trust me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Rosalie, for that reminder, because as soon as you said that, I remember they were going to put solar panels on that property at one point to help with energy costs. So I do remember that rezoning coming through. Thank you for that clarification.
My pleasure.
Other questions? No questions? Okay. Rosalie?
Well, at this point, I will need to recuse myself because I am an adjoining property owner
Okay.
of this. So I will absolutely defer to Amanda.
Man?
Sure. And thank you for the corrected.
No, that's
Flat.
fine. I
Sketch
forgot Miss Rosalie joined this. We'll cross that bridge later, so.
I appreciate that. The sketch plat generally aligns with the subdivision layout practices in the I-1 zoning district. Additional information has been provided. Of course, I don't have the full sketch plat checklist, but eyeballing it, it does include the lot sizes and total acreage, and looks like there's some utility details been added. It doesn't look like utility details have been added yet. But the proposed Harper Avenue extension is conceptually acceptable, but will require full engineering and coordination with Public Works at a later stage. Clarification would be needed on how existing access off Planter Street is intended to function regarding traffic flow and any potential additional easements. Again, that would be at a future date. The approval recommendation is approval with condition. It was going to be approval with condition, but staff now recommends approval of the sketch plat.
Anybody have any questions for Amanda? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion? Mr. Thomas?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Mr. Thomas to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Did you do that, Heather? Second by Ms. Bay. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. Next on our agenda is some discussion. So we were asked by the mayor's office to put these items on for some discussion. There are some developers that are wanting to develop some property through THDA. For those of you who may not be familiar with THDA, they generally are going to provide low-income, affordable housing. We've been asked to evaluate the following potential development that has applied for THDA LIHTC project. This is a proposal for low-income housing tax credit program, which assists private developers in creating affordable multifamily rental properties. So this could very well be apartments or but it would be some sort of multifamily project. Is everyone somewhat familiar with THDA? They're the entity in the state that provides usually tax credits and that type of thing for this. Why don't we listen to Rosalie and Amanda, and then we can have any, if we have questions for them and stuff. Ms. Rosalie?
Thank you. So what we were asked to look at for each of these projects is looking at, okay, what is it zoned? What's the land use? the infrastructure, the public service assessment. What are they going to be using for utilities? Have they even reached out to them? Things of that nature. And we're going to be compiling all of these different comments and submitting that back to the state because the state wants feedback on these various projects. Now, just in full disclosure here, I only know of one of the projects. One of these projects we looked at and they gave us a concept plan to look at when they asked for a rezoning. And that is the Welch property up there by the high school. These others, I did try to do some research. They are listed. The first one, if you look, it says 38 Sam Beasley. I went to verify with 911, is there an actual 38 Sam Beasley? No, there is not. So they just assumed that's what the 911 address was going to be. I did reach out to the contact that is listed on these projects, and I was unable to reach anyone on these projects. So looking at what would be feasible here, you don't even see what is listed as the acreage associated with these projects. Now, we do know of the one that we're familiar with that Philip Wilker brought before us. So we have a good idea of what's going on with that. And I know that he has been doing his due diligence because I told him with the concept, the next time that they come forward to bring a site plan, they will have to do feasibility studies. We had agreed as an organization here, as our commission, that we want to see feasibility studies. Does our infrastructure support it? I also asked about stormwater assessments as well. And I do believe that they have reached out to the water department to see, if water is going to be available. Again, I have no information about these others, but we can look and maybe assume where they are, but I'm not really certain. So the 38 on Sam Beasley, there's that one parcel of land that's right next to the elementary school. There's frontage on McMurray Boulevard and then also on Sam Beasley. It's about 7 acres. But if you look at the total number of buildings, 10 buildings, total number of units, 50. That gives you an idea of 5 units per building.
This is that lot right behind that older home that's on 25. That's kind of goes like that, and it's encircled by the driveway that goes up to the 4th and 5th grade area. I mean, at one time they sold a lot of dirt and stuff out of that and kind of created a bowl out of it. But does everybody know where we're talking about? Okay.
So in fact, the access there to McMurray Boulevard is very narrow. It's maybe 50 feet, 60 feet. And then you've got a lot of road frontage there along Sam Beasley. But again, we're not really given a lot of information. Oh, wait a minute. Was I looking at the right one? Where'd it go? There we go. So they're calling it Magnolia Park, 38 Sam Beasley. So no, 4 buildings with 72 units. So that would, to me, illustrate apartments, which would mean they would have to be sprinkled. You couldn't have that many townhome units stuck together with 4 buildings. So, and we need to capture all this information. So looking at this, would we have water accessible to this? So that would be a no. Traffic. Looking at Sam Beasley, you guys already know what we have. We've already approved one small subdivision of 10 lots on Sam Beasley, just a little further up. They already incur a lot of traffic going to the elementary school there. Would traffic be impacted?
Be a nightmare.
So looking at electric, thinking about electric, there's already electric going down that. And I know that the smaller subdivision that's going in on Sam Beasley has already done their impact. And they've already talked with Tri-County, and so they would have electric there, but I don't know if they could supply that many units there, so electric would be questionable. Zoning, it is zoned R3. So is the zoning appropriate? Yes. Amanda, can you think of anything else we need to consider for this type of unit or this project? Stormwater?
Well, it ought to fill up. It's kind of a bold.
I was just gonna say, with it being, they would have to grade so much in order to do, where would they put the pond? Where would they put that? It would have to be huge in order to mitigate stormwater. The Board of Education.
Y'all getting a pool.
Stormwater.
There is concern for the capacity for the sewer going that direction at this time, especially down at, I can confirm positively over by CoreCivic, so.
Personally, I would have difficulty voting for a project there just based on the traffic alone. You know, the ingress and egress, I mean, all those people coming out in a short span there, then trying to get on Highway 25, going right or left at certain times of the day. I mean, it'd be impossible.
I believe you're right, even with a traffic light, if you had a traffic light and a turning, I mean, they'd have to widen something in order to accommodate that.
Just another comment, no questions here. There's a lot that's pulling on my heartstrings tonight, apparently. Trousdale County has so much, even just for the record, for what it's worth, it may not be worth anything, but Trousdale County has so much to be proud of. And this county is very unique. That's why I came here, because it is such a special county. And in my opinion only, I would not be in favor of projects like this coming here. I get the concept, I get the idea, but I think we need to focus on other things, infrastructure and other things before we toss around.
We
these
already have
ideas.
down at Charles Place, that's a THDA, am I right? But it's just so much better planned out and everything and stuff. I mean, it's not the concept. It's really the location and the impact on the infrastructure, roads and possibly sewer and just everything like that. I mean, we have to take each project on its own merit and stuff. So, I mean, I wouldn't ever want us to just say, no, we don't like that, you know, because really that's probably against the law. But we just have to take each project on its own merits and then do what's best, you know. for
Well,
the
let me
county.
rephrase that.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not in, I said, let me rephrase that. I'm not in favor of where this
Oh,
proposed plan
I'm right there
is.
with
Yeah.
you.
Maybe that was just worded wrong.
Well, I just I don't want somebody to say, you know, that we're trying to limit things. That's not our job. We're to take each project and, you know, do it on its own merits. Yes, sir.
But it is our job to limit it based on our infrastructure. I mean, that's supposed to be. the
Oh, I
number.
agree. I agree.
So, I mean, in that capacity, I mean, between the.
I just
center-
didn't want somebody, Katie said something about that type of development. That's,
I
I
understand.
think that could get us in trouble.
My concern besides the sewer issue is also that water runoff. The experience that I have in my neighborhood, you take 72 units, you take those buildings, that water is gonna go right towards the creek. So that's gonna affect everyone between the creek and that development, which there's a couple of houses down through there, and then there's a pumping station that already has problems with flooding. Now you dump all that water onto it, and all of a sudden the water department has a mountain of issues.
Again, the mayor's office sent me a email about, would we put this on and discuss it? And so that's why it's on our agenda. I was not aware at that time of any specific project, but you know, Ms. Rosalie has found out some stuff since then, and it hasn't been brought to us yet. So there's, you know, we don't have any vote to take tonight or anything like that. If this is a discussion item. Yes, sir.
Now, my understanding is from the mayor's office is wanting to get our opinion on these projects so that they can make their recommendations to the USDA, based on what we have to say at this meeting.
Yeah, well, I think, again, and I'm speaking from, if y'all don't agree, fine. We have to take them a project at a time and look at all the factors surrounding each individual project. I would hate for the mayor's office to think we're just saying, you know, it's kind of like a rock quarry, you know, you just can't say you don't. I don't want one, but you just can't hardly say that. You know.
So speaking on the water and sewer, I would make the statement that this is a project that would require a lot of infrastructure on the developer personally. There may be a large vein of capacity to acquire water, but it's not necessarily serving enough for the capacity for 4 structures holding 72 single units within the 4 structures, especially with the sewer as well. So we are doing our best to move forward with the water and sewer, to expand that. We've just had a loop installed not too far from there, but I would need to look and find out what the PSIs would be required for the sprinkler systems, with this type of zoning to state any more information on that. But I think it's in the best interest that, okay, so this is for I have a question. So that is that this is for the property owners to be eligible for a low-income tax, a tax break by the USDA based on that they would be providing low-income housing to possibly 72 groups. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so they may acquire some tax breaks, but it's going to cost them a lot of money in infrastructure up front. Is what my experience is, what I'm seeing in this project.
I'll just add that from my understanding with this program, each county is awarded 1 project. So these 3 proposals are bidding for 1 project to get the tax break from the state.
I didn't know that. But I'm
That's
not
good
from-
to know.
Well, what do we need to, tell Miss Rosalie to report back to the mayor's office? I know what I'd like to say, but I need something more.
Well, that's actually what I was wanting to make a comment on. Art, do we want to do these individual or as a group? Because individually, I'd like to make a recommendation to say unfavorable for this particular project.
I wasn't aware of 2 others, or where are they located?
So the next one is, and again, I tried to verify the 911 address for this one. It says 280 West McMurray Boulevard. In speaking with the 911 commission, it is located across from Blankenship Collision Center and maybe off to the right, looking at the various property that's there that could either be part of that they had rezoned R3, Blankenship, or it could be If you recall where they had the R3, C2 frontage that had the cottages. He has since put that under contract with someone and he is selling that. So this could be associated with that property. Again, we don't know. The next 911 address that is assigned officially is 278, right next door to that parcel of land. That's 5 acres.
So you've got two tracks that are basically down the road from the Welch property. Okay.
And we don't know which one this one's associated with. Again, they have not reached out to the building office to inquire about anything.
I know, and this happened before many of y'all were on the planning commission. It's been years that when Mr. Blankenship first built his business down there, he bought the land across the street and actually got it approved for an apartment complex. But it's been so many years ago that he would have to start the process all over and everything. I mean, we're talking in excess of 10 years or more. I mean, and maybe, I would think it's far longer to go than that. It's probably that tract that he owned there because, again, that did get approved for an apartment complex back many years ago. But those lots are different, you know, they just have different things about them. I would think that TDOT would probably want to make them put in a turn lane and that type of stuff. But it's got that forced sewer line out through there.
I had an interesting meeting with TDOT this week. I had to attend where someone else is putting a driveway in off of McMurray Boulevard and they had to involve TDOT. And I was invited to this meeting and I told them that I was so glad to be able to talk with them because we had several projects coming before us. And we could always use their insight on what is going to be required because we've had a lot of discussion about these different subdivisions coming forward and would they need a turn lane and things of that nature. And they're very, very happy to help us on the front end when we're considering these rather than on the back end after and having to give someone bad news, as in you're going to have to do this. So that is a good point about TDOT and turning lanes.
I think we should, since you've got contacts there now, when it's on a state road, and especially if it's a multi-family project, I would suggest you always reach out to TDOT so that, you know, and that's really a public service because some of these people can't afford to put in a turn lane and stuff. And if they find that out on the front end, it's just better for them not to go through all the time and trouble with their project, you know.
In regards to that, I do believe Mr. Welker has already been in touch with TDOT, and I believe that was mentioned to my family that they would have to put in a turning lane for that project, which is project 3 that on the list, so.
And I had had that conversation when they approached me about this, that has been mentioned and that might be a possibility. So going with this next one, Little Goose Landing at the 280 West McMurray Boulevard. Total number of buildings, that's the 10 buildings. Total number of units is 50. So that would indicate probably 5 townhomes per building. And if it's over here, really on the 5.13, which is the one that we had already rezoned, we kept the C2 at the front and the R3 in the back. They would have to do some type of.
They would have to follow the same guidelines that we required on that. Because let's face it, that is our commercial area going on both sides of town, you know.
Now, I understand if it is the Blankenship property, that is totally zoned all R3. There was no C2 that was associated with that. So,
It's already zoned. It was like I said, he did that many years ago.
so as far as electric, again, Tri-County, I don't know what they was, do they have a transformer that they would have to have? Is water available?
Well, sewer runs right down Highway 25. It's that force line.
when he done that, I think, years ago, he had it put there.
I don't think so.
I
I don't know of anybody that would go to that expense and then not build something.
know the side of it there, he wanted to put in a shop.
Yeah. But I mean, he could have, but I would be shocked if he did. Yes, sir.
This is looking at the two, Little Goose Landing and then the Greens of Leon there. That's 122 units in a very short distance, which is why, from a commission standpoint, I've been against any R3s over 5 acres, because we're getting to a density that is just, we don't have the infrastructure to support this from traffic, or I don't believe from sewer either. So, yeah, but here we are already zoned stuff that now we're looking at how to manage those properties. And I don't really know an answer to the looming,
Again,
problem.
if it's that one property, it's already R3. So, but the one thing you didn't mention was they're gonna fill your schools up too. And your school buses.
And just for the record, the impact fee is in effect, the new
Yeah.
one.
It takes quite a few of those to buy $145,000 school bus. And that impact fee, it sounds high, but it's not.
So just looking at the Little Goose Landing, again, that 280 West McMurray Boulevard, all of the different items that we looked at for the Sam Beasley seems to be the same, that we could give the same type of feedback on this piece of property that we gave on the Sam Beasley piece of property. Would you see anything different that we would say would be different?
No, I don't see it quite the same. I mean, you've got a major highway there in front of it and stuff, where Sam Beasley to me is just completely a no. But the biggest problem I would have there is 2 projects in a short span with all the traffic going out. One, okay, but 2, because I already got 1 approved. And so that would be 3 right there. That's a lot of traffic.
Well, in all honesty, though, we don't have this one approved. It's just rezoned. It's not approved yet.
No, I understand.
So if you had to choose which project that you would give a favorable recommendation to, which one would you choose?
Well, with all things being.
We've already
equal-
approved that one, the Welch, right?
No.
We haven't.
That was just a rezoning.
Oh, okay.
So with both of them being, if they are both R3 already zoned properties, I guess you just have to take first come, first serve, because both would support infrastructure and whatnot would support the one unit by itself. It's the second one that then causes the problem.
Right.
So I don't know how you would do it other than first come, first serve.
I agree. The Welch property is just situated so much better.
Well, we know that the Welch property has already started their due diligence. They've already started doing their feasibility studies. They've already started contacting the water department and the various utilities and working on, they've already given us a concept plan of what they're intending. So to me, that kind of tips the scale a little bit.
So then that puts them first, right?
Sounds like it. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear what Katie said, but is the Welch property what's being identified as Little Goose Landing?
The greens at Leon.
On your decision matrix, as far as infrastructure goes, projects 2 and 3 are almost identical from an infrastructure standpoint. So
Personally, I'd rather stick with the Welch property. And, I mean, I just think it's situated better on the road and everything. What do y'all think?
Well, with the Welch property, you would just be extending the current turning lane, where with the other one, you would have to, it'd be a narrow and then a flare out again for another turning lane. So from that aspect, I could see that property fitting better. But like I said, I mean, if both properties are zoned for it, both projects are feasible with the units they're wanting to do. It's the second project that all of a sudden doesn't have infrastructure for it. So they've already started their process. We don't even know what lot option 2
Right,
here is.
right.
So I couldn't be a favorable on that one for that reason.
Right. I think the best thing we could do is report back to the mayor's office on that, is that the Welch property, we have so much more information on it. And that it's so much further along in the process, and that has a really good chance of getting a favorable recommendation as we move forward with it over the other one. If that's what y'all agree with. Yes, ma'am.
But that doesn't stop the project 2 from starting at all. This is just talking about that funding. Like, say, if
Yeah.
only one project's gonna get the funding and the Welch property gets the funding, that doesn't stop project
Not
2
at all.
from coming because they're already zoned for
Right,
it.
right,
Okay.
right.
And I would even recommend, and when speaking with TDOT, that they might even want to have a traffic light as well to help control the traffic. As some of you, I'm sure, have encountered the traffic when it's that time for school. I mean, I know, the police have
it's-
done really, really well in trying to control the traffic. But
If
I
I'm
think
right, the state doesn't pay for those traffic lights. Trousdale County would have to. The state doesn't pay for those.
With this current budget, I don't see the county paying for it. So the
I've never
developer.
seen, I've never seen a budget Trousdale County had that wasn't tight like that for 50 years. So I ain't buying that crap. Yes, sir.
You have to consider, well, you pay home, our sheriff's department. The spread of low income. That would be a department that would have a lot of extra work, like bus food systems.
Anytime you add something with that many new residents, it's gonna stress across the government all the way, EMS, sheriff, schools, I mean, fire department, I mean, it just adds more stress to every department in the county. Yeah. Well, I made a statement. Does anybody have a problem with Rosalie reporting that back, that this body supports the Welch project over the others?
No, I'll make a motion that of the 3 projects, we support the Greens of Leon project and unfavorable on the other 2 because of infrastructure issues.
Okay. Do I have a second? All in favor? Oh, discussion? Do everybody know what we're voting on?
I'll abstain.
I understand. If I was a Welch, I'd abstain too. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Does pass unanimously with 1 abstention. Mr. Welch. Is there anything else to come before us this evening? I've lost my agenda. There. No. I believe that's it. please, again, if you've got a second, introduce yourself to Amanda here. I think she's going to be a tremendous asset to Hartsville and Trousdale County going forward because there's so many things that she has expertise in doing and has done and stuff as far as future planning and just many, many areas and stuff. Yes, sir.
So we have started the process of going over and proposing a PUD type of zoning through codes and zoning. We have taken that up. When that's done, this body really doesn't have any back and forth, but I would like the input of the members
Okay.
to review that, and because it will set up very similar to like our large subdivisions. And the site plans will fall in the purview of this body. So I would love to have the input. So as soon as we get a finished copy, I'll get that sent around. We're not going to be taking that to the full commission until after the full zoning cleanup project is presented and dealt with.
Is
I
that
don't-
close to being ready?
Talking with Rick Gregory, he said that he had everything he needed to do and it was being sent over for formatting.
Oh, okay.
So we're hoping to be able to get at least a vote on it by November. We're gonna take our time presenting it. Rick's gonna be presenting it during work sessions, going over what changes were made, why they were made. Most of the changes were, well, because state law changed and we didn't. And so what we have in ours is contrary to state law, so we had to make those adjustments.
And I think the main thing for the commission to realize that is, it was a process of bringing the city of Hartsville and Trousdale counties with different regulations, bringing them all into one book and putting them all together and just simplification really. And I think if if the county commissioners realize that, they'll understand, yeah, we're a metro county, you need one set of rules for everybody. I believe I had it. I'm sorry.
You'll still have,
Yeah,
your
there'll be some
urban
differences.
and you'll
Right.
still have your
Right.
rule, but now you're not gonna have two complete separate language.
Right.
One being done by resolution, the other one done by ordinances and the
Right.
confusion of it all. So I'm really excited to actually start presenting the cleanup. I think it'll make a lot of what we do here a little easier because you won't have so many places to look. He's doing a lot, with appendix. So the county commission won't have to completely redo an ordinance. They'll just be able to pass a change to the appendix. So it should clean things up, make it a lot easier for Rosalie and now for Amanda to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah,
Right.
but
To
to help
understand.
us be able to make our decisions with that
Sounds good.
information, so.
Did have a motion from Heather to adjourn. Have a second from Cal. We're adjourned. Appreciate everybody coming.